This ain't just a podcast. This is a rebirth, a return to the truth you keep trying to silence. And right here, we name it, we feel it, we heal it. And like a prayer wrapped in poetry, like fire wrapped in grace, this is Talking Toast. I'm Coach G, and every time you press play, you're choosing to become her. Now, I want you to do me a favor and do yourself one too. Grab your glass, because tonight we're going to talk and definitely we're going to toast. Have you ever felt like you just couldn't show up anymore? Not for your friends, not for work, like not for your goals, hell, like even yourself. And you tell people you're just tired, but really the truth is you're running from something deeper. And before you even know it, you're on pause and everything still looks functional, but baby, you have checked completely out. And this episode tonight is for the ones who keep pressing pause on themselves. And not because they're lazy or they're lost, but because somewhere deep down inside, they got scared of their own becoming. So tonight, let's talk. Now, let's be clear. Like, first things first. Sometimes the pause ain't even a choice, for real. It's your nervous system shutting you down. And I've learned this firsthand. You do this thing of like going into freeze mode, and that's trauma. That's survival mode. And seriously, we all know like the flight or fight, yes. But very rarely do we hear about, talk about, or even know about the freeze response. And that's where a lot of us women live and don't even know it. Our brain is trying to protect us from becoming overwhelmed. When life feels like it's too much, we can't move, we can't decide, we don't act, we just sit in silence, scroll away on our phone, binge our emotions away, and call it rest or reset. But is that really rest? What that sounds and felt like to me was seriously a shutdown. So let me explain something to you real quick. Your brain is trying to protect you from overwhelm. That is what your brain is trying to do. And again, some of us call it a break. Some of us call it a reset. Some of us call it just a moment of rest and relaxation. But let's be honest, like for real, that's burnout. It's the aftermath of literally giving too much for too long without return. And what we do so effortlessly is we end up convincing ourselves that sitting still is a vibe, but really, you're just afraid to move forward. And sometimes we got to call what it is that this pause ain't peace, it's paralysis. And we genuinely need to figure out why. Why do we keep showing up and pouring from empty cups? Why do we not live in our truth so other people can be comfortable, not hearing what's real? Or you start second guessing your truth based on other people's thoughts and feelings and opinions and all the other things that come along with that. Like, why do we do that to ourselves? Why do we put ourselves in a position where we don't feel comfortable with speaking our honesty, speaking our truth, living authentically and wholeheartedly? So let's shift a little bit and let's talk about the life behind the pause, the part of the life that we don't talk about. And to be 100% honest with you, I'm gonna tell you the truth for most women it is tired. Like we're tired of explaining ourselves over and over again. We've been through things that have never been processed. We've buried grief like it was a damn to-do list. We smiled through betrayals that nearly fucking broke us. And every time you were told to just stay strong, you disappeared a little more. So, yeah, you paused because you didn't know where you ended and everyone else began. And some of us genuinely were raised to survive, not to thrive. You were taught to endure. You were taught to perform. You were taught to never need too much. And so when life gave you a little bit of space to breathe, you freaked out, you panicked, and was like, wait, hold on, what is this? Because that freedom you were starting to feel felt real unfamiliar and you got real uncomfortable. And then the pause felt like a failure. Look, baby, let me tell you something. And I want you to hear me and hear me good. Your pause was not, is not, and has not been a failure. It was literally your soul saying, hey, let me catch my breath before I become unrecognizable. Seriously. And let's be clear, the pause is a part of the process. It's not the destination, so we don't want to stay stuck there. The pause is like being in isolation in an incubation stage, right? It's like that space where you need to learn to formulate the new you, where you need to become in realignment with who you are becoming, and be comfortable with who you are becoming in the season of uncomfortableness, being uncomfortable. Like, shoot, that was just giving me a struggle, but being uncomfortable. So, genuinely, you need to get curious about your silence. And this is how to, utilize the pause for healing, not to avoid people. You need to be asking yourself genuinely, what is it that you are afraid of? What is the pain that you are avoiding? Because sometimes silence is just fear in a costume. And we know that fear is false evidence appearing real. Do you have safety, or do you feel safe in your current life, in anything that you have going on? Do you feel safe? Because if you don't, your body is telling you that you need to feel safe to move again. So you need to begin to ground yourself, breathe deep, speak gentle words outside, out loud, so that you can start reestablishing safety inside. You can start to let your mind heal and start to let your mind take in the words of empowerment, take in the words of solidarity, take in the words that nobody else may have created a safe space. Nobody else may genuinely have had my back, but you know what? I got my back. That's right. I'm creating this safe space for me. And it's nothing that you can do without my permission to take away that safe space again. Give yourself small daily moments of truth. And again, honor them. Give yourself that 5 minutes of honesty. Do 10 minutes of moving a day, whether that's journaling, walking, praying, dancing, listening to your favorite song. Do anything that makes you feel like you again. Stop allowing people to re enter into your life just because you forgave them. Stop allowing people to have access to you that doesn't need to have access to you just because of a title. I had this conversation here recently where I expressed that just because you have a title that connects you to me in this way doesn't not mean, and I say this with all sincerity, it does not mean that it gives you full access to me. If any, we have to stop allowing people and giving them silent permission to enter in our lives, interrupt our peace, disrupt what our flow is and what we have going on and the feng shui we created. Also, everybody else can be comfortable. What about your peace? What about your comfortability? What about when you feel off? Do they have a safe space for you? But I think you've already learned that they didn't. And so, therefore, if you have learned that they did not have a safe space for you, then why travel back down that road? Like, literally, let's just make it make sense. Why? Why do you keep pouring into people who don't have the capacity and shown you that they don't have the capacity to pour back into you? You're setting up your rituals to return to you, the inner you, the fullness of who you are, the safety of who you are, creating that sanctity of who you are. And here you are allowing people back into your life that don't need. And why? That is another question that you need to be asking yourself. Why are you allowing people back into your life that does not deserve to have any type of access to you in any capacity? Now, let's say they still have your telephone number, fine. That doesn't mean you have to answer the phone. That doesn't mean you have to engage in conversation. That doesn't even mean that you need to reconnect at all for what you have been doing to get back to yourself. And here's the thing in the process, people will have you questioning what it is that you're doing when you are in a season of transition. So let me be very clear. Do not judge yourself for needing the space. Thank the version of you. Say thank you to yourself for when you knew to step back. But again, you cannot live there. Take the time that you need, but every day should be a step forward in the right direction. You cannot stay stuck where you simply don't belong at all. You cannot allow the ignorance, the person who is unwilling to do the work for themselves, have you feeling as if what you are doing for yourself is wrong. And that's where you got to get witty. That's when you got to start putting the ball back in people's court so that they can start checking themselves on what it is that they're doing for themselves. Because, baby, seriously, people will have you feeling like you're crazy as hell for wanting to grow up. You're crazy as hell for wanting to have peace. You're crazy as hell for not wanting to sit around and party all day like you don't have bills, drink all day, smoke all day, fuck the kids, all this other simple, stupid shit. Like, people will have you feeling crazy for choosing you. But I'm going to tell you this, and these are some hard lessons that I learned about myself and why I kept walking away from myself. I realized that I was walking away from myself because what I'm explaining to you, boundaries. Every time I ignored my boundaries, every time that I set them in place, but gave people silent permission to treat me like anything and I didn't check it at the gate. And then when I did check it, it was what I just said. Oh, you crazy. You girl, you changing. You think you better. No, I am becoming better than the person I was yesterday or last month or last year because that person wasn't going anywhere. That person was still stuck. That person was still like in this vicious cycle, this vicious loop of people pleasing and doing things that didn't serve me, literally didn't serve me. The second lesson that I learned was that I kept pouring from an empty cup. And I mentioned that a few minutes ago. Why do we do that to ourselves? Why do we keep pouring from an empty cup instead of checking the fact that we don't have anything to give to anyone when we struggling to give to ourselves? We can't give shit to anyone, especially for people who don't want to change, love talking about the drama and how other people did this and did that, and you're absorbing all of that. You're trying to pour it all of your grace and your goodness and your light and your empowerment back into somebody else. And then at the end of the day, you don't have anything for you. Nothing, Nathaniel. So you sitting there miserable. Now you got to regroup. You got to restart. You got to go into your prayer closet, which you should be in your prayer closet anyway, but you got to go into your prayer closet for a different reason now. You got to go into your prayer closet because your energy feels off. And that person that you just poured into you don't call you when they feel like, hey, you know what? She was there for me. Let me pour into her. Or when you call them and you need somebody to pour into you, baby, they ain't there. Because people don't be worried about what they can give back. They just in the season right now of take, 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 take. Well, baby, I'm taking back all of that free access that I gave. I'm taking back my power. I'm taking back being there for Chanel. And say that out loud and put your name in it. I am taking back my power and I am being there for Chanel. Stepped away from this podcast. I stepped away from social media. I stepped away from my blog posts. And if you have been following this podcast for quite some time, you have realized that I have taken several breaks in between because life was lifing, or I let other things get in the way. And no, F that. I'm not doing that to me no more. I'm not. I'm not going to keep showing up for other people and I can't show up for myself. I'm not going to keep pouring from an empty cup when I don't have anybody pouring back into me to make sure that I am okay. That's giving me the words that I need for encouragement and uplifting. That's like sending me scriptures. Now, I got a couple people that'll send me some scriptures in the morning that'll fill me up, and I'm so thankful for them. Right? Outside of those couple people, outside of my partner and my parents, I don't have anybody that's close enough to me to be like, girl, you know what? I was thinking about you and I just wanted to pour this into you. I don't know what's going on, but I know that I haven't talked to you and I want to pour into you. And I just want to remind you how dope you are. And I just want to remind you that you are a phenomenal person, flaws and all. Because I'm not perfect. I don't pretend to be perfect. But what I do know is that I show up for people. And while I say that, I'm tired of silencing my truth, as I mentioned before, so that everyone else could be comfortable. And I'm going to ask you that again. Why do we do that to ourselves? Why do we silence what it is that we are feeling and what is the truth so everyone else can be comfortable? I not too long ago had a conversation with my brother and my girl, and we were talking about this very thing, how we are like constantly giving and pouring into other people, and no one's there to pour into you. Constantly being in a space where we're giving, 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 giving. And then when we need, they're not there and we don't say anything. We sacrifice, we keep going, we figure it out, and we just be like, okay, well, whatever. I ain't got time for that. I got to figure out my situation. But then the moment that you speak up, the moment that you say, hey, you know what? I am sick of this shit. I do not give y'all permission to treat me any other way than what I deserve, period. Now it's, oh my gosh, you doing too much. Oh my gosh, you ain't got to do all that. Oh my gosh, it's not even that serious. And my girl always say, no, 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 no. It's not even that deep. And she says, have you seen the ocean? Because it is that deep. Is that deep, especially to a person that is tired of pouring out and getting no reciprocity. And I'm big about reciprocity. And especially now, at this moment in my life, I'm not giving anything extra to anyone that is not pouring that into me. That's not fair. That's draining. That's disheartening. It's dysfunctional. It's toxic. I got my own woes. I got my own worries. And that's what you need to be thinking about. Not that you can't be there for people, but how far out are you going to be there for other people, not being authentic to what you're currently feeling, what your emotions are, what are you thinking, where you are financially, where you are physically, where you are in your state of mind. And here's the thing, you want to know where you are in a state of mind? Sometimes all you got to do is go home and look around your house. Is it chaotic? Dishes washed? Clothes put away? Even have the clothes been washed? Floor been vacuumed, bathroom clean, anything. If your house is out of order, it is a direct reflection to what's going on in your mind. You dragging when you get out of bed, don't feel like getting dressed, but you know you've been one of the baddest chicks. You get dressed, baby. Hair laid, makeup beat to the gods. And here you are now not functioning in your best self, finding yourself now crying in your prayer closet trying to figure out why life is like this and why life is like that. And you are the answer. That is that moment that you need to stand in the mirror and have a little bit of, not a little bit of reflection, a lot of reflection as to the choices that you are making, as to the things that you are literally choosing in your life. Here's the thing. A lot of times we do some self medication, whether that's drinking, whether that's smoking, whether that is, popping something natural to go to sleep or whatever. When what we really need to be doing, again, I'm going to reiterate, journaling, doing the things that make us happy. Journaling is so beautiful and cathartic because it gets all of that crap up off your chest, out of your mind. It's down on paper. Now you can do one or two things. You can continue to journal and then you can burn that mofo and then let that be that. Or you can hold on to that journal. And when you move into a different season in your life, you can applaud yourself for how far you have come. You can look back and be like, damn, I really was in that space at one point in time in my life. And I'm so thankful for where I am now. And know that you love the lady, the woman, the young girl that you used to be, but you knew you could not stay in that spot. You knew you couldn't live there much longer. You knew it was driving you crazy. You knew you wasn't showing up in the best form or version of yourself. Hence the reason that you paused on everything. Nothing made sense. You couldn't show up for your business. You couldn't show up for yourself and doing any of the activities that you love to do. You couldn't go out. You couldn't go on self dates. Nothing seemed fun. Nothing was right. Everything was felt just like a whirlwind of an illusion that just was like, where did my life go? I even think about that. Where did my life go? And here's the thing, I'm a mom of 3. And at this point in the game, all of my children are out of the house doing their own thing. Now, just because they are the ages that they are and they out navigating their own bills and doing things of that nature doesn't mean they don't need me. However, I am no longer in the position where I am the hands-on parent. I am now the tour guide. So it is not for me to be all up in their business, all up in the tea of what they got going on in their life. It's not all for me to be, checking on them. Did you get your bills paid? Did you get your car note paid? Did you get this taken care of? Did you get that? Now I could check on them. Yeah, absolutely. I can check on them to say, "Hey, is everything okay? Everything smooth? You straight with everything?" And we do. We do our daily check-ins. "Hey, what's going on? What's good? You eat? Oh, what you eat for dinner?" Yeah, that kind of thing. But I am now at the space in my life where I am minding my own grown woman business, where I want to travel to. What does date night look like for my girl and I? Okay. Where's our next weekend trip gonna be? Where's our next out of town trip gonna be? What we doing for the birthday? Because our birthdays is only 8 days apart in the same month, baby. Woo! But seriously, what are we doing for our birthday? What are we doing that's bringing us peace, that's bringing us happiness? Now, true enough, family always got some type of drama, right? Now, you can insert yourself into the drama to help resolve it, or when it comes to you, you can resolve it the best way that you know how. And then if that doesn't work, you have to gracefully bow out and excuse yourself from that family drama because you are now absorbing shit that ain't got shit to do with you. And ain't is not gonna help you go forward. It's not gonna help you proceed forward. It's not gonna help you grow up. It's not gonna put no money in your pocket. It's not gonna do anything. You gotta let people be people and figure their own shit out because that's what you been having to do. Figure your own shit out. Who was there to readjust when you needed alignment so that you could start showing up for you again? I want you to genuinely, seriously, think about that. Who was there for you when you needed realignment, when you needed to have somebody to just sit with you and cry, or sit with you and watch a movie, or just uplift you with the right words? Sometimes you don't even know the words that you need to hear until you hear them. I promise you, I've been listening to like Sarah Jakes Roberts. I've been listening to Pastor Michael Todd. I've been doing my own research, reading the Bible in prayer, just really just doing a deep dive on Chanel as to why it was so hard for me to show up for me and why I kept pausing on myself. Like, I don't know about y'all, but I don't have time to keep pausing. I don't have time to keep disconnecting from myself. I don't have time to keep disconnecting from my business and then asking God like, "Hey, give me this and give me that." And he like, "Baby, you got the story. Baby, you got the tools. I've made the provisions. I've given you the ability of storytelling. I've given you the ability. You know what your purpose is. Now you have to disconnect from what isn't helping you to go forward. What is weighing you down? That's stopping you from being able to see that you are as powerful, as gorgeous, as great as all of these other empowering words as you are pouring into other people. Well, damn. I am. Now, with saying that, that doesn't mean as a human being, you or I are without fault or flaws. That doesn't mean that we won't make mistakes. That doesn't mean we won't have to make tough decisions based on the choices that we have in front of us. But we're showing up to do our damnedest, to do our best. And here's the thing, don't allow anybody, and I don't care who it is. Now, I'm not big about title, so I don't care. It could be sister, cousin, mother, brother, father, uncle, grandmother, grandfather. It don't matter. Don't let anybody tell you about the decision you made when they don't know what the choices were that you had in front of you. Maybe you took the one that felt like it was going to be the least resistance or the one that was going to send you through less hell to get there. Let's say maybe that wasn't the right choice. Maybe you should have took the other one. But hell, what like you did the best that you could in the moment. Stop letting other people weigh you down with their opinion. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one. Seriously. Everybody does. And so what? When people aren't showing up for you, they're not paying no bills for you, they're not coming to the rescue for you or anything else. Stop giving people unspoken permission to have access to positions that they haven't earned or allowing their opinions to live rent free in your head about what you should or should not have done when they aren't the ones in the situation. Allowing people who haven't operated in your space, aren't doing what you are trying to do, or that you are living in the spaces that you're trying to move towards, the people that you are genuinely trying to connect with. Stop allowing people to tell you how to get there or what the journey should look like when they haven't done it. All of that stuff plays a factor in how you ultimately end up just stop showing up for you, because now the opinions of others is weighing on you. It got you second guessing and questioning yourself. When people keep disregarding your boundaries and keep being like, "Oh man, she fine, she'll get over it," or "Man, that ain't even her, that's not even how she gonna operate." Stop disrespecting yourself by letting people run all over you. Stop pouring from an empty cup. Stop. Just stop. And I'm not just talking to y'all, I'm talking to myself too, because I am showing back up unpolished. I'm showing back up imperfect, but I am showing back up. I'm showing back up. And I always show back up. But this time, I promised myself it was going to be different. Not only was I going to continue to be 100% transparent with y'all, but when I find myself giving life to my past, it is to give you the example of being seen and being heard, and for you to know that you are not the only one going through something, but to not give my past power over my present and headed into my future. We don't know what the future holds, but every time we stop showing up for ourselves, we make the future far more distant than it has to be. And why? Why? Because what is it that we are afraid of becoming? Are we afraid of genuinely reaching that level of success that we have been asking God for, that we keep envisioning in our heads, in our dreams, when we pass by the car of our dreams or whatever the case may be? Are we genuinely afraid of that? We should not be. We should not be afraid to live out loud at whatever that looks like for us. No two people have the same journey. No two people have the same lifestyle. And if they have similarities in lifestyle, they don't operate in that lifestyle the same. So make a promise to yourself of letting go the shame of not showing up for yourself, letting go the shame of allowing people to have disrespected your boundaries. Apologize and forgive yourself, letting go the shame of not respecting your own boundaries. Honor yourself by knowing when your cup is empty and you have nothing left to give. And here's the thing, you should be pouring from overflow, not from your cup. Forgive yourself. And again, thank yourself for the version of you that knew to step back so that you could go forward. Sometimes, y'all, sometimes the step back is a beautiful setup for a marvelous comeback. So I want to take the time to share this toast with you because, baby, this should be the portion of the season where not only are you in forgiveness of yourself and others, but you are empowering yourself to walk in the greatest version of who you are destined to be in this season. To the ones that stopped showing up, not because they didn't care, but because they forgot how to care for themselves. To the sacred pause, the fire that we're no longer afraid to face. To every woman returning home to herself, slowly, gently, and without apology. May your pause be so purposeful and may your return be so powerful that you may never walk away from you again. And understand, home is you taking back your power. Home is realigning with who you are becoming with yourself and the better version of who you were yesterday. And walking in that purpose and in that power so unapologetically that you literally give a different permission to other people who are watching you flourish. F them naysayers, F them people that's talking about you changing because you're supposed to grow and you're supposed to change and you're supposed to become. You're not supposed and was not designed to stay stuck and stagnant, which is why you end up getting restless. Baby, if something cracked open in you today, I don't want you to just sit with it. I want you to grow with it. This healing does not stop just because the mic turned on. It is an everyday process. Don't rush yourself. Give yourself grace. Feel it, honor it, heal it, love it, embrace it, and grow from it. I want you to stay locked in with me on Instagram and TikTok at Provoke Change. Also, you can read my blogs if you got time to do a little razzle dazzle and reading at www.child, and that's CHII. I want you to tag this episode, share your feels, start the conversation because tonight and from here on forward, we are building a whole movement out here. And if no one told you lately, I'm telling you today that you are seen, you are loved, and you are becoming. I'm your girl, Coach G, and this is another episode of Talk and Toast, where truth pours heavy, healing runs deep, and we toast to every part of the journey. Now you go on, keep becoming her. And until next time and next episode, have a good night.